Hello and welcome back to the channel, and in this tutorial we're going to be covering the new camera tools and how you can use those to best showcase your course. We're going to be going through the different types of shots, how to set them up and things to avoid, because this is quite a tricky tool. Enjoy. Now, one of the first things I thought would be useful would be to show you how these actually show up in the game. Now, you will find them in society rounds or local match rounds, and unfortunately at the moment I can't yet see a way in which the event intro cameras really come up. But lots of these are lower third shots or pre-hole ones, as you see with this one on the second at Huntington Sound. Additionally, the actual replay cameras in the game have also been introduced. We don't get control over these, but you get a lovely view of this chip in at Playa Siena on the 10th hole. So the first step is us knowing where to find the cameras, and they're under the Edit Holes menu. You then go into Select Camera Type, and the in-game tutorial does a half decent job of explaining what they are. So firstly, you have your event intro camera, which is what the round opens on, and I've got some ideas as to what you might mention there. Menu backgrounds are more still, that are just whilst the menu is paused or at the end of the round. Lower third and pre-hole are best explained by pre-holes are assigned to a specific hole, whereas lower third is more general footage that might appear in transitions between holes. So if you didn't have 18 pre-hole cameras, don't worry, just do a couple of lower thirds and you're fine. Basically, you can use these as much or as little as you want. In terms of how you set, you have two options. One is Place Camera Tool. Now the game's going to create these anyway once you put them down. These used to be developer only, but now we have a bit more control over them. You can do it this way, but it's very hard to work out exactly where it's facing. So my suggestion would be to go to the Free Fly tool, which takes you to here, and you want to just fly around. Now we said we want to do a panorama sort of shot. I'd go up to here, L2 and R2, so the two shoulder buttons give me increased focus, and maybe we're going to start somewhere around about here. So I'm going to press 1 here, X to set it, and we're then going to move around, and we'll place another one here. Now you only typically want to go with the basic versions of cameras, go with 2 waypoints. You can see they've placed them up in the sky with that line drawn between them to show where they are. Now we then go and find the camera, and we've got a load more settings. So you can move this either by cursor or free fly, which is as you would expect. You can also do that with the quick move as well. Camera preview shows us what we're looking at, and as you can see at the moment it's pretty stationary, which we're going to want to solve, and the good news is there is an easy way to do that. The tween speed is how quick it moves between, so if we went up to 100, as you can see it's slow at the start and then is starting to move a bit quicker. Now this number of 100 is relational, so if your points are very far apart, you're going to want a higher tween speed. For the moment, we're going to take it lower and go down to, say, I don't know, call it 20. You then have sequence types. You can assign a camera to multiple sequences. Say you didn't want this as an event intro, all you do is switch it to the one you do want and then turn off that one. Alternatively, you can use the same camera for multiple different things if you've got a shot that you really like and want to show up on multiple holes. So for the moment, we're going to leave it as those. Add camera step if you wanted to edit the spline that you've got. I would recommend, though, rather than doing this, it tends to work better just to redo it all. You can then delete individual cameras or the whole sequence. Now, the advanced mode generally incorporates some things that you don't really want. It's still got the move and free fly, still got the camera preview, but then it has these camera step settings, which frankly I don't think do very much other than the noise presets, which bounces the camera up and down. There might be the occasional time when you want this, but I would say handle with caution with that one. And sequence settings, which you're not really going to want to touch either. You remember how the camera was accelerating, and we want to stop that. Now, you cannot access this part from the very first camera, so we'll find that one, and you can see that tween settings is grayed out. However, on all other cameras in the sequence, you can access this. So we're going to go to tween settings, and you can see we've got this ease type, and you've got lerp, in and out, in, none. Now, what you really want to do is get rid of all of them. So we're going to auto ease camera sequence, select none, and now it's just going to go a smooth 20 speed between both points, and it's going to stay at this speed forever, which for most of you is all you really want. So what I thought I would do next would be to set up another couple of cameras. Now we've done the one intro camera, which is up high in the sky, but maybe we want some others. This is how I'd envisage they work. I don't know how many pre-hole or pre-event cameras will be used, but we're going to assume that maybe they'll cut between a few of them. Now I want to show off some of this nice planting here. So we've gone for event intro camera and we've zoomed in and we're going to go for one with 4 waypoints. So you can see how this goes. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And a 4th one, and then we'll later compare that to one with 3. Now, as you can see, one with 4 does this. If I was to just put down 3, let's say we go here, and we'll do it very quickly. 1, 2, doesn't matter where these are going, you'll see the problem. 3, it doesn't smooth your spline between them, whereas 4 or more, it does. We're going to do the usual thing where we've set this. So the first thing that we want to do is not go into the advanced mode, but we want to lower the global tween speed. Otherwise, if you do the advanced one first and come back to this, you're later going to have to edit it for each individual one. We're then going to go into the advanced mode, but on a different camera. So go onto here, and advanced mode tween settings are now enabled. We're going to go to auto ease, none, and then set our tween speed. Let's call it 8. Now it would appear that we are going to have to auto set this regardless. And maybe there's no way around it. So we'll check that this camera is at the same speed. If you set 1 to 8, 1 to 18, you will notice that acceleration happening, which we really want to avoid. Perhaps with sequences of more than 2 cameras, there's nothing you can do about this and you just have to do it individually. So we're going to preview that. And I think that looks pretty good as a camera. So it's showcasing the hole that we want. You can see the one in the background, a nice cinematic view that we can see coming. Pans around pretty nicely. So I'm happy with that one. Now it is doing some weirdness, and that's because the cameras aren't quite rotating as we might want them to. So I might choose to go back in, edit this one, say, this one. So you can play around with them, and just by using the quick move, it tends to make it a little easier. Do a preview again. So I certainly like the first one. So where it goes to here, it's not slowing down or speeding up too much. Still pans around. And if I really want to, I can get into tweaking this loads, but this is just to give you an idea of how this might work. Being a perfectionist, I'd probably come back and look at it again, change some things, but for the moment, that will do. This one, we've got multiple cameras set up. You can see they're on a relatively smooth spline. And what we've done is we've set it to tween speed of around 27 because they're carrying quite a long way. So we wanted to go a bit quicker. And I decided with this one, I wanted to showcase the closing hole right at the very start of the round. So if we're previewing, you can see that this is what we work into that opening sequence as well. If it does happen to handle multiple cameras at once, you get an idea of it working smoothly around the corner, showing that closing shot that you're working towards over the course of the round. Quite nice. Now the other one we may want to do a very slow panning shot around the clubhouse, say. So maybe we slow the tween speeds down even further and put it at, let's say 1. You can also see there's no decimal points, but the slider is still moving between 0 and 1, so that's good. We'll just preview this, and that's now exactly where I'd want it, because you get the first hole in the background, which I think looks great. So this will be one that I definitely keep. Next up, we want to look at pre-hole cameras. Now you could assign ones you've already done. So say this one for 18. Well, I quite liked that. So we're going to go into sequence types. Doesn't matter if you're in advanced or not. Go pre-hole camera on. And then that should tie itself to 18. Well, and it does that pretty seamlessly. We're going to go to do one on 17 as well now. And maybe we'll do like, let's try something fancy and go for a zoom out. And you can see when you go back into sequence types now, it assigns the hole that it should be going to. Now, as we've only got 2, let's start on here. Probably going to want it to be a bit slower. Let's call it 8. We're going to go into advanced mode again, tween settings, auto ease, none. And we'll set it to 8 on here as well. Auto ease, none. And hopefully that means that both of them are now set to 8. Go camera preview. And there's our zoomy out shot, which is interesting. I guess it's a little bit different. I prefer zoom ins, but that's an option. If you do want to do a bit more of a flyover, you can do. We're going to start from way down here. You can go up and over this bunker. Put one here. Who knows whether this will work? It's quite hard to control this camera because you're zooming around a lot. I'm going to go to here, and then we'll try one more near to this green. It is a very interesting path that we've gone with. We'll see how it works. Maybe we'll move this camera. I think we can do going over the corner of that. That might smooth out a bit more. But we probably want to go a bit quicker. Let's make it 30, 40. Because this one I envisage as being quite fast. Auto ease again at 0. We can go to camera preview. As you can see, this one might zoom over. And that's quite a cool way of introducing a hole as well. Finally, your menus. I think the last thing you would want to do is maybe showcase off-course elements. So perhaps we want to show off our farmland that we spent some time working on. Maybe it moves ever so gently to here. So some of the menu cameras you want to be super slow. Change our tween speed way down to say 3. Once more we can go into the advanced mode. Second camera, tween settings, take that one down to 2, auto ease, none. Hopefully that then previews, and I think that's a pretty nice shot to have on a menu background. If I were redoing this and editing it, I'd probably want to not see the edge of the plot stuff. So I'll turn it around so it's facing a bit more of the course. And that really is our cameras. They are quite finicky. And there's some annoying stages in the process where you have to edit loads of little bits separately. But I think they're really cool, and you'll see them popping up in some of the career mode courses where we put them on. Hopefully you found that useful, and see you again soon.